Well, hello there. It is FrOzenSwipe, and this commentary is not going to be about the gameplay, although more and more so now that it never seems to be about the gameplay. But this one in particular, and that is just because I don't really know what this gameplay is. I just kind of grabbed it off my hard drive just because it was there. But the commentary that I have for you today is going to be very important, or not so important, because practically everyone on YouTube is going to be talking about this, or is talking about this, or has already talked about this, and I think everyone else is talking about this as well. And that is of course the fact that you had the PS4 reveal a couple of days ago. Now I would have put this up yesterday, but to be honest, I didn't get to see the stream live, and I was too busy trying to soak up all the information I could about it because, well, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of fanboying over this, and everything I saw just completely blew my mind. So let's get in, let's talk about it. I suppose the first thing that I think is the most important is going to be the hardware that's going to be shipping in the PlayStation 4. Now, there were rumors that it was only going to be 4 gigs of RAM, but they confirmed that it was going to be 8 gigs of RAM, and it's going to be unified RAM as well, which means they're going to be using both CPU and GPU based RAM. So it's all going to be very fast, and they're going to have a shared pool of memory, so they'll be able to accomplish tasks a lot quicker and everything like that. I could go into more specifics or try and explain it more, or even research this a little bit more, because I myself don't really know that much about it. I know the basics but not everything, so I'm not going to go too specific. But essentially, it's going to be an incredibly powerful console. It's going to have a lot of memory behind it. It's going to be able to accomplish a lot of tasks, and as you see in some of the graphical demos, I mean, in terms of graphics, this thing looks like a high-end gaming PC. I mean, that's just what the graphical quality is, and that's essentially what you're going to be seeing from the next generation of consoles, and that is essentially high-end gaming PCs that with more stable architecture, which you'll be able to plug into your TV and maybe do a couple of other things like go on Netflix and things like that. So that's especially what you can expect from both sides in terms of hardware. But one thing that Sony put a particular focus on was that they didn't directly say it, they were kind of almost apologizing for the cell architecture that they had in the PS3, which was a lot harder to code for than the Xbox architecture, because the Xbox architecture was very similar to standard PC architecture. So what you had was cross-platform games were a lot easier to code for the PC and the Xbox, and they were more difficult to code for the PS3 due to its unique cell architecture. And it's not because the architecture was bad by any means, it was just that it was different, and therefore it was harder to code for, because obviously developers weren't used to coding for it. So what you had was, when it came to cross-platform games, they generally tended to run better on the Xbox than they did on the PS3. But when it came to exclusives, when developers were working solely on the PS3 and they knew how to use its architecture and its hardware to its full advantage, you actually ended up having exclusives on the PS3 that ran better than exclusives on the Xbox. But for cross-platform games, they looked better on the Xbox than they did, and ran better on the Xbox than they did on the PS3. So they seem to have completely U-turned that. They are not trying to go for some sort of unique architecture. They're not trying to be their own, unique little snowflake or anything like that. They are going to try and be more mainstream with their architecture. They're going for what they call themselves, I believe they refer to it as accelerated or advanced PC architecture. So it's going to be fairly standard, and the idea is that it should be a lot easier for developers to code for it, because one thing they kept saying was that it was going to be a console made by game developers for game developers. So they're really putting an emphasis on third-party content, and I think that's really where the console war is going to be won, whether or not third-party content is better for the Xbox 720 or whatever Microsoft intend to call their next console. For the purposes of this commentary, I'll refer to it as the Xbox 720. It's just going to be easier, and and between the PS4. So a lot of people were complaining about the fact that we didn't actually get to see what the console itself looked like, and to be honest, I don't understand what the big deal is, because really I don't see why people are so obsessed with what is essentially the cosmetic aspect of the console, and that is the little plastic box that all the hardware is stored in. I mean, it's a completely insignificant feature in my opinion, just because I really don't care, so long as it doesn't affect the longevity of the console or the performance of the console. The casing could literally just be a cardboard box and all the hardware could be held together with duct tape, I really wouldn't care, because at the end of the day, it's all cosmetic. It's not going to have an actual effect on what it is, and I don't really see the need to actually see it. So I don't understand why people are so butthurt over the fact that you didn't actually get to see the console. We can see, well, we were told what the console is going to be made of. We were given details about the hardware, and we were shown what the console is capable of. Surely that is more important than what the console is going to look like, but I don't know, some people are weird like that. Anyway, moving on. One thing we did see in terms of the hardware and in terms of the design is the new controller, the DualShock 4. Now, one thing that you notice straight away is that it is bigger, and I think that was to address one of the complaints that they had with the DualShock 3 controller, and that is that it was quite small, and for people with large hands, it was quite uncomfortable. Generally, people with, you know, larger hands, they preferred the Xbox 360 controller because, you know, it was bigger and it was beefier, and the position of the analog sticks and everything. But it's definitely a bigger controller than the DualShock 3. Also, they've made some adjustments to the shoulder buttons. The shoulder buttons look a lot beefier, and you know, they've definitely improved them. One of the problems that the DualShock 3 controller had was that your fingers will often slip off the shoulder buttons, so they've redesigned the R2 and L2 shoulder buttons so that that won't happen as much. At least that's what it looks like from what I saw from the stream. So that's obviously good. They're getting feedback from both developers and players in that regard. So it's good to see that they've changed that. That's an aspect that's going to actually help. Also, they've reduced latency and just little things there, little more technical things. And they've added I think the biggest thing, the most noticeable thing, is the fact that they've added a touchpad to the front of it, which, to be honest, I can only really see being a gimmick. I don't really see how developers are going to be able to use that in any really effective way, to be honest. I think it's just going to be kind of a gimmick. It's just going to be there just for the sake of it. I don't think it's going to be utilized that much in games, to be honest, because I can't really think of a useful purpose for it other than just to kind of be different, to be honest. So I think that's just going to be kind of a gimmick. But another thing they added was that there's a light bar at the top, so it's going to be like the PlayStation Move built into that controller, and the light bar is going to be picked up by a stereoscopic camera, like the PlayStation Move, so it'll be able to identify players and where they are in the room. Now, I'm not sure if this camera is going to be bundled in with the console itself by default, or if you're going to have to pay extra for it like you did with the PlayStation Move. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I could understand why that would be there. I could maybe see where developers would take advantage of that and where that would be utilized. But with the touchpad, I really don't see the point in it, to be honest. One extra thing that they've added is that I can see being incredibly useful, and probably one of the best features about the PS4 is they've added a share button. And what it does is, when you press the share button, you can go back and look at the last few minutes of gameplay or so. And you can take whatever section of gameplay you want, and you can take snippets of gameplay and upload. So if you have an epic moment, you can upload it directly to either Ustream, or you can post it to your Facebook or something like that, or upload it to your profile or whatever. I'm not entirely sure where you actually upload it to. They just said that you can upload your gameplay, so obviously that's pretty cool. Although for those of us who have capture cards, I don't think this is going to completely take over. I can't really see people being able to stock up gameplays and things like that, so I don't think it's going to be something that will take over for us guys who invested in graphics card or in capture cards. Sorry, I'm saying graphics cards all the time because I've gotten so into researching all this hardware stuff. But yeah, so I don't think it's going to impact that much on us. However, one thing that I see being incredibly useful is the fact that you can live stream your games. So people can see what you're doing in real time, and you can live stream directly to Ustream, and you can post links on your Facebook and your Twitter, and people can see you playing in real time, and any comments that people post you can see on the side of your screen, and so they can give you hints and stuff as you're playing through the game. And also, probably the most impressive feature of this is the fact that you can hand over control of the game to someone spectating your live stream. So if you're having a tough time and you don't know what to do, and they've played through the game before, they know what they're doing, You can literally, it's as if the person was there on your couch next to you, and it's like you handing over the controller to them and just going, I don't know what the fuck to do, could you give me a hand here? So they can take over your game and play from their PlayStation 4. So I think that's a really cool feature. What they're going to be doing with this streaming feature, and also with the new updated PlayStation Network, which they're trying to make more like a social network than just a gaming network. They're trying to make gaming far more social, and I love the concept, I really do, but I'm not sure how this is going to play out. It's either going to be something that will be revolutionary, or it's going to be kind of a flop. I want it to be revolutionary, I want it to be awesome, but at the end of the day, I mean, this could go either way. It just may not take off the way that Sony expected. I want it to succeed, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Now, some of the features that I really like, suspended mode. So what this allows you to do is that if you need to, stop playing or whatever, you simply, you press the power off button, but it doesn't completely turn off. It keeps running a little bit of power so that it's kind of suspended between life and death. It's never truly off, but what it allows you to do is that when the next time you come back and you just press the power button, you're just right into your game straight away. You don't have to wait for the console to load up, and then you don't have to wait for the game to load up and then load your save file, then wait for the environment and everything to load up. You don't have to do any of that waiting anymore. You can literally just press the power button and jump back right where you left off. So that's going to be an amazing feature. I think that's going to be something that people are going to take for granted really quickly, and then when you go and use pretty much any other console that doesn't have this feature, you're going to think to yourself, my god, how did I ever live without it? So for people who are impatient, this is going to be an absolute godsend. But on the note of impatience, what they've also done is that they've added background processes. So you can download games, but you can also play at the same time. So it'll download, or you can even have the console turned off and it will continue to download games in the background while in the suspended mode. And you can do the same with updating games as well. But one really cool thing is that when you're downloading a new game, after you've downloaded the first part of it, say the first gigabyte or so, you can then play that part of the game until the rest of the game has been downloaded, and you can literally play the game as it's being downloaded. So that's going to cut down on the amount of time that you're spent there waiting for the game to download and when you can play it. And another thing that's going to really cut down on times is that eventually, the PlayStation Network is going to pick up on what games you like to play. So it's going to predict what games you are most likely to download. So it'll download, say, the first part of each of these games, so that when you buy it, the first part's already downloaded, so you can literally just, the second you press the X button, you jump right into the game and you're able to play that first part while the rest of the game is downloading. So it gets you right into the action, right into that experience straight away. And essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to really cut down on all the downtime between games, trying to get you from when you want to play the game and when you're playing the game to be as short of a time as possible. And that's, for people who have absolutely no patience whatsoever, it's going to be an absolute godsend to those people. And I'm not going to lie, at times I am most definitely one of those people. So this is, absolutely amazing features. It'll be interesting to see if the Xbox 720 is going to have anything like that. Also, the fact that if you have the PS Vita, that you'll be able to connect it to your PlayStation 4, and what you can do is that you can, the PlayStation 4 will essentially stream the game to your PS Vita, so you can continue on playing the PS4 game on your PS Vita. So that's pretty cool. I can understand where that would be useful. Also, they're going to have, because Sony bought Geico, they're going to have cloud storage and hopefully cloud gaming. They're also saying something about this idea of an online game library, and this will be stretching, eventually it'll stretch all the way back to PlayStation 1 games. And even though the PlayStation 4 isn't backwards compatible, like you won't be able to play PS3 games on the PlayStation 4, the idea is that once Geico's cloud gaming service starts up, that they're going to have PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 2 games, and even PlayStation 1 games on their cloud gaming service, so that you'll be able to stream those games to your console. So while it's not directly backwards compatible, you will still be able to play the games you know and love. So, kind of a bittersweet thing there. I would have liked it to be backwards compatible, but there you go. That's just how it is. I guess I'll have to hold on to my PS3 for a while, regardless of what happens. In terms of some of the games that were demoed for us, some of the things that we actually got to see, Drive Club, I mean, that game is an exclusive. It's a driving game, as you can probably imagine from the name, and it puts more of an emphasis of you driving as a team, and has more of an emphasis on the interconnectivity of the game. It's no longer just you playing by yourself. They're really trying to make this a very social game, which obviously ties into Sony's new philosophy of making gaming a social phenomenon, even more so than it is now. So, you know, obviously that looks pretty cool. Graphically, it's amazing. The attention to detail that they've gone in with some of the cars is just absolutely insane. I'll probably link some of the trailers and the demos and walkthroughs and things that we saw in the stream, just in the description there, so you can see it and also get a feel for what the graphics are like in this game. In terms of graphics, Killzone looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, I mean, when I was first watching this, the very first part of the demo where they're just flying over the city is just absolutely mind-blowing. The detail and the richness of the environment as you're flying over the city, I mean, you can just see so much detail. It's like you're almost there. I mean, obviously when you get into the gameplay and the shooting and all, it looks like a PC game on ultra settings, and you know, again, that's what you can expect from this next generation of consoles. So I am really excited about that game. But again, my favorite part of that trailer was just at the very start when you're flying over the city, just looking down over the city, and also the fact when he knifes the guy in the face. That's pretty cool as well, but mostly the looking over the city part, but a good bit of the knifing in the face part. Anyway, Watch Dogs, that game, oh my god, I really want to play this game. It's an exclusive again, and it's essentially what I feel Assassin's Creed would be if it were set in modern times. It's this idea that all technology is interconnected now, and using this interconnectivity and exploiting it to your advantage in order to complete whatever tasks you need to do. I mean, really the only way to describe it is to just kind of link the trailer down there. It looks like such an awesome game. It's such an original idea, and I can't wait to play it. I really want to play this game. It looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see more from it. Knack, you know, it's a kind of friendly little platform game. Can't really go wrong with it. It looks, I'm sure it's targeted more at the younger audience, but I'm sure it's probably going to be a very solid game overall. I just don't really have much interest in it, to be honest. But the thing that I'm really excited for is going to be Destiny. Now, this is going to be a cross-platform game. I'm almost certain it's going to be available on the Xbox 720 as well. But the fact that it's going to be on the PS4 is, you know, also great as well. And they said they're going to have exclusive content for the PS4, so I assume that's not going to be anything, you know, major. It's not going to be a case where if you're on, say, the Xbox 720, they're going to be there looking at the PS4 house and just going, oh my god, this game isn't half as good on this as it is on the PS4. I think it's just going to be some minor things, like, you know, maybe a couple of extra side missions, or maybe an extra story mission, or maybe some, you know, extra multiplayer maps or skins or weapons or something like that. You know, some fairly small things, but, you know, nice enough to have, if you know what I mean. It's going to be a futuristic first-person shooter made by Bungie, which for us over on the PS4, we've never had a Bungie made game, so we're really excited for this. And also the fact that, you know, it's a futuristic first person shooter game with competitive online multiplayer. Yeah, Bungie's got some experience in that, so I'm pretty sure they'll know what they're doing. So I'm really stoked for that game. I cannot wait for it. No matter what console I end up getting, I'll definitely get that game, because, you know, I'm really excited for it. I really want to see what Bungie have in store for us. Anyway, I'm really excited, you know, to see all these cool new features that the PS4 is going to be shipping with. But now I'm also really anticipating what Microsoft are going to be bringing to the table. I mean, Sony really did set the bar with the PS4, and I'm not sure if Microsoft are going to be able to compete. But it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. To be honest, I don't think the PS4 has any feature that is definitely going to make people convert from the Xbox over to the PlayStation. But I feel that the console war is going to be one based purely off of which game has the best third-party content. And it seems as though Sony are really putting an emphasis on creativity and allowing third-party game developers to be as creative as possible on their platform, and really encouraging third-party developers to create new and innovative content for their platform. So it'll be interesting to see how this is going to play out. And again, I'm really interested to see what Microsoft have to say in response to that. So I really can't wait for the next generation of consoles. Again, like I said, no matter what happens, it's going to end up coming down to which console all my friends get, because to be honest, playing on a superior console by yourself is never going to be as fun as playing on, say, maybe an inferior console but with all of your friends, because I feel playing with your friends it always enhances the experience. So again, it's just going to come down to which console all my friends get. But anyway, I want to hear what you guys think. What did you guys think of the PS4? Are you excited for it? What things did you like? What you didn't like? And of course, you know, if you liked the video, feel free to give it a like. And again, comment your opinions away. But this has been FrOzenSwipe. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Thanks for watching.